Welcome to Boilermakers Building Benches, a socialist design concept intended to build community on the basis of socialist ideals. As the name suggests, our group proposes building benches around the Honors College lawn. So how exactly will this work? Well, first, the benches must be built. There will be a standard structural design for each of the benches, which we will later explain. The second aspect is the decoration. This will involve a voting process in the form of a design competition. Our group got the idea of a design competition from historic competitions such as the White House, the World Trade Center Memorial, and the Sydney Opera House. Rather than have one small group choose the winning design, we decided to have a voting process intended to involve the entire honors community. This represents the inclusiveness ideal of socialism. We hope to promote the community ideal of socialism in both the decorating of the benches and in the use. In decorating the benches, many different honors community members will cooperate to complete the design. After the benches are completed, they will promote interaction among honors members while in use.
All right, Connor, thanks for that. So now talking a little bit more about the Boilermaker Building Benches design overview. So we hope to create 11 honors backyard benches that will be comprised of a all-weather design pressure-treated wood. So this type of wood is more resistant to weather and moisture throughout the year, especially in our Indiana winters, so they will be able to last for a long time into the future. So each honors residential community would get a bench, and it would be their job each year to come up with a new design voted on by their floor. And we'll talk more about the voting process coming up here in just a moment. And they would be able to portray that design on their bench. In addition, we wanted to make sure that the honors faculty, staff, and service staff was included in our community. So we added an 11th bench in order to promote and foster that community. Finally, these benches would be located between the Honors South and Windsor communities for the entirety of the Purdue residential community to use and facilitate.
So with these benches, there will be a voting process. Each honors floor will vote on a paint design for their bench. And then for the 11th bench that we'll have that doesn't pertain to a floor, it'll be a faculty, staff, and administration vote. The floors will also select the time at which they would want to paint, as well as the faculty and administration. And each year after the first year, there will be a new design selected by the floor's residents of that year. So the result will be 11 different unique benches that will be created equitably each year because of this socialist aspect of creating wealth and diversity through the community vote.
In the first year, the benches would be built professionally. This would minimize the risk of student injury and the benches not being built properly. These benches are intended to last many years. The painting would be done by the respective students of each floor and the staff and faculty of the entire Honors College and residence. For example, the second floor of Honors North would paint their floor's bench. Of the people on that specific floor, those who would want to paint the bench are allowed to, but no student would be forced to paint. Students would be able to sign up online for time slots to paint. Initially, there would be enough time slots so everyone can paint if they wanted, to allow for equal opportunity. Only once all students have a chance to sign up are students allowed to sign up for multiple time slots.
So essentially the area that we're talking about putting the benches in is in the area behind Honors South. In the picture on the left, you can see Honors South is the straight, tall building, and the area we want to put the benches in is in that grassy area with the trees directly behind it. On the right, you can see a picture of the area now as it is, and there's really nothing there. If you were to go out there, you'd find like one picnic table and 2 concrete benches. So basically, we want to add the benches to just add more areas for people to sit so they can take advantage of the area. This is the proposed layout on the next slide of our 11 benches. We have 3 along the sidewalk across the top because there's already 2 concrete ones over there, and then we have another 8 along the bottom. They're obviously spaced pretty well because right now COVID is somewhat of an issue still. In the future, it won't matter as they are benches and they're just outside, but at least for the time being, they are spaced well, so COVID transmission shouldn't be an issue at all. One issue we did think of, though, is potentially, while the paint dries for these benches, areas of the lawn might be a little bit out of commission for a while. but it shouldn't be too big of a problem. It's just something that we thought worthy to bring up.
So there are about 3 main characteristics that are implemented into our bench project in order to kind of lean towards a socialist ideal. And the first one, and a pretty important one, is the voting process, in the sense of we are including everyone in the Honors College to make the decisions, to vote on what they think would look best, to vote on who does what. And that really leans into everyone having a decision and that kind of socialist ideal. Also, the painting process is that we're all working on it together. Everyone has the choice to work on it and paint the bench. They can if they want, and they don't have to if they don't want to. We are also all donating the resources and kind of pooling all of our talents. And then once the benches are done, that is going to be a big thing to encourage kind of community within the honors backyard. And it's very much going to be a social place and really encourages like society and yeah.
So one thing we wanted to consider when making this project is the obvious COVID-19 constraints that would be posed. So for voting, we wanted to keep it virtual, but still keep a sense of community and collaborative efforts when deciding on what artwork we wanted to put on those benches. The painting is a little bit more difficult to keep completely online. So we're going to do timetables, sign-up sheets to make sure that we maximize the number of people painting at once, but minimize the exposure to COVID everyone would have. And then in addition, benches are not going to be built in mind of COVID because we don't think that COVID will last forever. That's unrealistic. So we are building the benches functionally without COVID in mind, but the implementation of the benches will be kept safe and COVID friendly. And so once those benches are built, we can do Protect Purdue COVID procedures. So basically limit the amount of people that will be sitting on the bench and can sit next to each other, etc., etc. So therefore, when COVID is gone, these benches can still maintain a good sense of community and bring people together in that way. But until it's not gone, it is still able to be kept COVID friendly.
We also considered some alternatives and future improvements that could be made to this design. In particular, we considered other ways of engaging the community, such as rebuilding the benches every year. However, this would have proven too complex in terms of the design, the reliability, and the building process of the benches. We could also leave a small patch from every year instead of repainting the bench completely, so every student from every year would have a tangible reminder of their work. However, over time, this would diminish the contribution and creativity of the new students, and eventually the contribution of each year would diminish with every passing year. We could also have designed the paint collaboratively, but sent it to a professional painter or artist or designer for the actual painting. While this might have looked better, it would take away from the community building and socialist ethos that is supposed to be the hallmark and that this design is supposed to foster within the Honors College community. Since it is a group effort, a possible improvement would be that 5 honors students volunteer to take care of the benches every month. They would clean the benches up, touch up paint chips, and whatever else is needed to maintain the quality and look of the benches, especially during the winter months.